Radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network.
All right. Good evening. How you doing? How you doing? Is everything good? Yeah. This is Fade to Black. It is Wednesday, May 1st, kicking off another month. Here we go. And another amazing week here on Fade to Black. Oh, it's 2024, everybody. I just did the thing. I just checked to see if my coffee cup is dripping. I have in my old age, I have turned into this OCD repetitive thing that I got to break out. I never used to do this stuff. I just don't. Every show, I got to check to make sure my coffee's not dripping. I got to do that. I got to. Well, what am I doing? You know, and I in the morning, I have as I make my coffee in the morning. I've been doing this now for about a year, and now I laugh at myself. But there's an old friend of mine that goes back to the 1980s, whose father showed me a French press coffee maker at dinner one night. I'd never seen a French press coffee maker before. And his name was Eric, by the way. And anyway, he's no longer with us. But so this is what I do every morning. It's this, I get the water, and the French press, and I rinse it out, and I put it on the counter, and it hits the counter, and I go, Eric. It's like, what am I doing? Why? And I laugh at myself. And is it this weird thing? Have I turned into what I didn't think I'd ever turn into? I got to break these habits. I just got to stop. I just got to do something different. I don't know what to do. And so there you go. And I just did it there. And I'm letting it all hang out. I'm out of the closet, man. I am fully out of the closet. Like this show tonight, Pam Oslie is with us. And great week this week. Bruce Rawls, of course, on Monday. And last night, Freddie Silva. Just an amazing conversation. And Freddie last night was too much. And tonight, Pam's with us. And tomorrow night, Dr. Robert Zubrin is back with us. And I am able to and that's why you're here, to just talk about the things that I enjoy. And you guys know that. And so for me to be able to, in a show like we're about to do tonight, jump into my favorite subject, as everybody knows, physics, quantum physics, any form of physics, by the way, whether it's astro or theoretical or quantum, it doesn't matter to me. Old school, new school, and our community, because the two, how many times, I said it earlier today on the news, we are getting ready to, our little safe community of woo and physics and the hard sciences are getting ready to just go head on. I said it to you 10 years ago. I said the trains are headed down the tracks and they're coming straight at each other, and it's going to be gnarly when it happens. And it seems that every single day we are getting closer. That's why this show tonight is called The Future of Humanity. It's going to be a great show, and I'm really looking forward to it. Now, I want to remind everybody, I've got a lot of events and things that I'm doing throughout 2024. The next event is coming up in less than 2 weeks, right here in Los Angeles, downtown at the largest theater in Los Angeles, Regal Cinemas at LA Live, for the premiere, the red carpet premiere of Anunnaki, Billy Carson's new TV series. This is a day-long event. The tickets for it are below. Come and hang out with us. It's going to be an amazing, amazing day. And it's coming up very quick, and it's going to sell out May 12th. Okay? All right. Now, you know. All right. Now, let's get to it. Tonight, Pam joins us. I want to make sure that we have a full evening around two very important subjects. And I'm going to expand that into probably 3 or 4 very important subjects. But are we evolving? Where is our knowledge at? What can we understand? And of course, the future of us. We're going to be doing all of that. She's an author of many books, a consultant. She's a psychic intuitive. She's an aura expert, by the way. Featured on major TV networks like ABC, NBC, as well as TED Talks, TEDx, and 5 best-selling books. And of course, her website's Aura Colors, and the links, and Love Colors. The links for those are below. And I would like to welcome for the first time, and she's right here. She's on my coast. Pam Oslie. Pam, good evening, young lady.
Hi, Jimmy. Great to see you. We're going to have fun.
Yeah, this is going to be a good conversation tonight, a great conversation. But before we get started, you get the first-time guest disclaimer. Now, I've followed you for a long time, and I can't believe that tonight is the first time on the show. But better late than never, right, as they say. But you get the first-time guest disclaimer before we can move forward, which is this. Pam, it's just you and I sitting on my couch having a conversation as friends. Where that conversation starts, it starts. Where it ends, but we're going to end as friends. Now, you have to accept to move forward.
Okay.
Okay, that's it. But, see, the thing is, everybody, I'm just going to let you know, Pam and I already started the show like 45 minutes ago, and we were already on the couch having that conversation as friends, and it was so good. And I don't want to forget some of the things that we were touching upon and circle back to, because that's what happens when you have a great conversation, right? We'll remember it for the show. Right. So, yeah, exactly. What were we talking about? I want to start with David Deutsch. You brought up David Deutsch, and he is somebody that has influenced so many, both in the intelligence circles, right? The brainiac circles. He's admired, and everybody reads and listens to David, but also the world. He's got legions of fans, and he influences a lot. But now I'm going to paraphrase David a little bit here. All right, I'm not going to get the words exact, but one of the things that he has said, and I've found this very interesting, and it applies to this show. He says that, well, our level of understanding is only right here. And if we kick it up a notch, or if we're introduced to something in the world of physics, or something happens, we may not have the level of intelligence or awareness to understand it. Now, that's a deep, deep, deep statement, but it's one that has turned into a thought experiment and has been talked about a lot. And what do you make of that? We like to think that we're pretty smart, right? That we know a lot, but actually we kind of don't. The future us will look back at us right now as like amoebas, right?
The approach I take, Jimmy, and thanks for just jumping right into the big subjects. That's awesome. the approach I take is because I love studying quantum physics. I've been doing that for, since the 70s. So that's cool. So when I see that quantum physics is saying something's real, I want to experience it. I want to prove it to myself. I don't care what anybody else says. I want to know it's real. And I've been able to do that. The whole conversation I had with David Deutsch for hours, one-on-one, just the two of us, is parallel universes, because that's one of his main things. And so when I learned that parallel universes were a real thing, I went, all right, then we should be able to use those. Every time we discover something like aerodynamics, that was always a real thing, but we didn't know how to use it till we discovered it. And it's like, oh, now we can fly. So I went, okay, parallel universes are a real thing. And the ones I experience are the ones that are different frequencies, not the ones that like, the space is so infinite that there's duplicates of us out there, because how are we going to use that, right? But the ones that they say it's right next to us, just in another frequency, that's the one I use. That's the one I've experienced. And that's the one I've dramatically changed circumstances in my life by understanding that parallel universes are real. So when he says that, we don't have we might not have the consciousness or the awareness or the level of intelligence to understand some of the things that are happening. Okay, I get it, but I'm not going to let that stop me. It's like, all right, you say that these things are real. I want to experience it for myself. And Jimmy, I have non-local mind and entanglement and parallel universes. I know how to use all those things because I've experienced them intentionally. So that's where I go with it, whether I understand. I don't even understand how cell phones work. It's like I can talk on my cell phone and my sister in Europe can hear me. It's like my voice. How are you? I don't understand that, but I understand psychic. I understand telepathy. I understand how those work. So it's the same stuff. So that's how that's my lane. That's where I go with that.
But and I love that. And the weird twist here is that everything that you just said is now being discussed and written about and looked at in the hard sciences. So this is what physicists are talking about today. But 20 years ago, it was just you and I wearing tinfoil hats, right? That this is science fiction. This is pseudoscience. This isn't, and all of these concepts. But now today, the things that the stuff that comes out of their mouth, right, Pam? Yeah. You and I have been talking about this forever. But back then, we were crazy. Now you want us to understand 11 dimensions. We've been talking about that for forever, right? Yeah. Parallel worlds exist. These kind of entanglement, right? How many times have you read a book on telepathy? How many? You don't even remember. But yet they want to talk about entanglement today, and it's the same thing. The concepts are identical, aren't they?
Yeah. And Jimmy, it's where we're going. It's where the consciousness is going. I mean, I even read a headline by Zuckerberg a long time ago. It was a major headline that said he believed the next technology is telepathy. It was in the headline. So it's like, it is where we're going. I mean, when we talk about the future, whatever things I've been told from the other side, I don't know what to call it, higher consciousness, more expanded consciousness, the information that I've gotten and where we're headed, it's mind-blowing. But decades ago, I was speaking at science and consciousness conferences. Of course, I had all these physicists sitting out there going, I can't believe they hired you to be one of our speakers, a psychic, come on. And then I was giving them readings in the audience, and they're all like, how do you know that? Wait, how do you know that I've got problems with my gallbladder? Is it because I'm wearing a brown suit? It's like, no. So years ago, but I would listen to them do their talks. And Jimmy, decades ago, they were saying things that would blow your mind, and they still haven't come to light. And they said back then that the things that physicists have come up with, it takes a minimum of 24 years to get into the mass consciousness to even start leaking there. So back then they were saying things that I'm like, why don't we know this? Why don't people know this already? But now it's starting to come out. It's going to come out. It's starting to come out really fast. But then, there's the old consciousness going, no, the world's still, it's the equivalent. Can you imagine if you were there when the first person came back and went, hey guys, the world's round. I just sailed, the world's round. Most of the people are like, no, you're not tricking me. How are people hanging on the bottom side, and you're going to trick me and I'm going to fall off there? How long did it take for people to get that? But have you noticed things are happening really fast now? It's so in the consciousness now.
Yeah. And I can't wait to get deeper into this as the conversation goes on tonight. And for you personally, when did you have crazy parents? Let's start there. Did you have crazy parents, or what started to open up your world to this?
Well, without going into too much personal stuff, I had parents that hated each other. So they divorced when I was 7. So I didn't really have parents. I had a working mom and an absent father. So I basically, somebody tells me I can't do something, they'll be like, oh yeah, watch this. So I've always wanted to push the boundaries. I've never liked being told what to do. Well, you and I both have yellow in our auras, and yellows don't like being told what to do. We're nice people, but we're stubborn. Okay. So I was just doing my thing. I got into the rock and roll business. I got into coaching, I'm working with autistic kids. I was doing all that stuff. And then one night, when I was I was 30, and I went to hear a psychic speak, right? And I'm like, whoa, this is cool. And I walked into the room and he said, you up here, you know how to do this too. It's like, what? No, I can't. So basically it wasn't until then. And he basically said, all right, I want you to start telling people what you see about them. And Jimmy, at the first time I was shocked. I actually saw things about people in the room that I didn't even know these people. I knew a woman was pregnant. She didn't even know she was pregnant, because for the first time, Jimmy, and I was 30, for the first time, I saw the spirit of a little girl standing next to her. This woman didn't even know she was pregnant. She went to the doctor, found out she was pregnant. She had a little girl. So basically this guy just threw me in the water. And so then I started realizing, oh, that's why I knew this back then. Oh, that's why I knew, because I believe all of us have this ability, and it is where consciousness is going. Telepathy, intuitive, psychic. I call it expanded consciousness. It's where we're going. And so when I discovered that I could see things about people that I'd never even met before, it was like scary and exciting and mind-blowing, and it really changed my world. And then a year later, I met a woman who could see auras, and she'd start describing what she knew about those aura colors and those people. And I went, oh, that fits with what I'm picking up about people psychically. So I go, oh, that's a blue. Oh, that's a green. Oh, that's a yellow personality. Oh, okay, I get it. And then I developed the ability to be able to see and sense them myself, because it's all just energy. And that's, physics, E = MC squared. It's all energy. It's all frequency. So seeing auras, sensing auras, we all do it. I explain to people, even if you can't see auras, you felt them. That's why you can meet somebody for the first time and feel comfortable with them and can stand close, and other people you don't even want to be in the same room with. It's because you're feeling the energy that's coming off of them. So basically, I'm adventurous enough that when he threw me in the water, I went for it. He even said to me, you've been asking to go to the next level, and this is it. I was like, wait, how did you know that? Anyway, so it's been a wild ride ever since then. And then
wait.
Okay.
Yeah, when you get that kind of or experience that kind of life-changing, some kind of paradigm shift like that,
yeah.
What do you do? Do you stop your world? Because you had a life, right? So do you stop your world, or do you just kind of step a little bit and you're doing both at the same time? Or do you just start reading and get into the research and try to find out what's going on?
No, I was running the Santa Barbara Bowl here and the Libero. So I was running concert, rock and roll business and theater. I was running those facilities. I continued to do that while I started learning how to do readings. And word got around really fast. People like, oh, my friend wants to have a reading with you. I was like, so it got to the point where I actually finally took a leap to do the psychic work full time. But I overlapped them for a good 1 to 2 years. I was doing both.
So I'm going to ask you just a strange question. This is yes or no. Do you know Kenny Loggins?
Yes, he's a very good friend of mine.
He has to be. Because that's that Santa Barbara Bowl rock and roll scene. He's at the center of it. I just knew it. I saw it in your aura. You like how I did that? You like how I did that? It was pretty good, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I know a lot of those guys. You name anybody in Santa Barbara, and I probably know them.
I was watching. I love Santa Barbara, Montecito, that whole area, and I've got a lot of friends up there. I was watching there's a new Steve Martin documentary series out. I don't know if you've seen it. It's all Santa Barbara and all the streets that I know, right? Summerlin and he's like, John Cleese used to own that horse ranch, and I go, dude, I know this street that they're on right now. Yeah. So yeah, I love Santa Barbara. It's just a really cool community, much smaller than most people realize. Like everybody's in everybody's business in Santa Barbara.
Yeah, it's getting bigger though, Jimmy. When I first moved here in 71, you could walk down State Street and know everybody. You could go to Joe's and have a drink and know everybody. Now you walk down State Street and it's like, I don't know these. There's billions of people here now. I don't know them. But I mean, I know the entertainment community. So.
Right. How do we land on Santa Barbara? Oh yeah. So the changing careers. Who did you start to research first? Were you attracted to one type of information?
Yeah, the first thing that really got me going, I mean, we all read Think and Grow Rich. We all did that stuff. But what really got me going were the Seth books. So it wasn't, to me, that was quantum physics in a way that I could understand. And then I started, Michio and David, all those guys, but first were the Seth books. Now, when
you're talking about Jane Roberts.
Yeah, Jane Roberts, and then Richard Bach. Yep. Illusions and Jonathan Livingston Seagull. That's where I really started getting into that level of thinking.
Now, do you think now this is an excellent segue. Thank you for that. You've got talent. Is Jane Roberts, especially with Seth Speaks, when you see Jane Roberts, the person, there's some stuff out there where you can see her talking and, doing interviews, and which are rare, but you hear her voice and you hear how she speaks. And then when she's channeling and then the transcriptions, the writing, the books, those are two different, that's two different people.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is 100%. And if there is evidence of something entangled coming from the other side of the universe, Jane Roberts represents that, doesn't she?
Oh, yeah. Seth is from another layer of consciousness. You want to hear a weird synchronicity? When I was in the 70s and I first found those books, the Seth books, my roommate at the time, we were both into it, we were reading it and everything. She's the publisher of those books now. She got all the Seth books. Robert Butts gave her the rights to all those books. So my old roommate is keeping those books alive.
Amazing. She blows my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, to go back, and here's the other part. Let's stay with the physics part. When you read through Seth Speaks, there is, we keep going back to that David Deutsch kind of thing. There's a level of intelligence there that was beyond the real Jane.
Oh yeah.
Right. That's you don't go to school for that.
No.
And that book is right. and that those concepts of consciousness and life and everything else that is presented there is that proof of a connected universe? Proof? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely. There's so much more to life, Jimmy. You know that there's so much more to who we are, to reality than we've ever been taught. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for everybody to catch up. And that's not coming from an ego. perspective. I mean, that's why I teach all this stuff. It's like, look, if I can see outside of time and see somebody's past, present, future, probable realities, if I can navigate intentionally parallel universes, if I can bend spoons, if I can do remote viewing, if I can see energy fields or auras, if I can do that, that means every person on this planet is able to do it too. Now, not everybody wants to do it. Not everyone's going to be great at it, just like everyone could learn how to play the piano, but they're not all going to be Mozart or John or McCartney, right? But we can all learn how to play music. But we're capable of these way more advanced abilities. And the reason that I taught this to people, excuse me, is because it's like, come on, you guys, the world would change dramatically, and it will. I mean, that's where it's going. But it's more fun, it's more interesting, it's more expansive, it's more loving, way less judgment. I mean, I have very tiny bit of judgment about people left, but most of what I do, I have no judgment about anybody else's movie or what they believe in or what they're doing. Now I still have a little bit of that, like, why are you doing that? But I get over it and I go, yeah, we're all having a different movie here. We're all having different experiences. But where humanity is going, Jimmy, is like, and all of these abilities.
Is it existing because is it existing at the quantum level? In other words, when somebody wants to see a demonstration of telekinesis, or right, and that there's some kind of magical ray beam that or there's something in the macro happening. But if this is happening, it has to happen at the very tiniest and smallest of levels.
Yeah.
And do you understand the question? It's got to be a quantum movement of something, a lot of quantum, right? It's a lot of it, but it's happening there. It's not something that's in the macro and big and out in the open, is it?
You want to know what I've been told about? I mean, with that in mind, yeah, everything comes from the quantum. It comes from the unseen into the seen. It comes from the microcosm and emerges, if you want to call it, because we could get really deep about that. There's no such thing as physical anyway. It's all energy. It's all frequency. Where we're headed has everything to do with energy and consciousness. And that's the other thing that's coming up is with all the AI and stuff. I know we're bouncing around, but you're okay with that. They're going to have to start defining what consciousness is, because scientists have been ignoring that. They don't know what it is. They can't even prove that it's generated in the brain. So now with AI, it's going to force them to start coming up with, well, how do you define consciousness? Because so many people are afraid that AI is going to become conscious and take over the world and destroy us. It's like, okay, you better define what consciousness is then. So that's one of the things that really is going to get triggered and have to be explored more, and they're going to be forced to do it.
I think that we're going to stay right here.
Okay.
I think that it's not about me, it's about you. But let me say it again. I think that we have taken the material world about as far as we can go. Circuits are circuits, cell phones are cell phones, the internet is the internet, the satellite communications, the digital ones and zeros, computers. Okay, that's all. All we're doing is making it smaller and faster. And we've made it about as small and as fast as we can go. The next level is going to be with consciousness.
Yeah.
That's the technology that will be. That's what ET is going to bring us. ET is going to go, dude, it's not about circuit boards. It's not. It's going to be. Is that our next stage of evolution?
Well, so here's what I see is that technology is helping us go to that next level. I mean, the fact that cell phones are helping us become more telepathic. The internet is helping us feel more connected and be able to communicate with people instantly. It's all leading us to the next level, to consciousness and energy. That's where it's going. let me just say this real quick. No, I won't jump ahead. I'll wait till you're ready to go to.
No, I'm ready. I'm ready. You can't do that to me, Pam. You
Okay.
can't. You cannot. That is in the radio biz. That's called a tease.
Okay.
All right?
Well, then let me just say this. Because I'm able to expand my consciousness to kind of tap into the field, whatever you want to call it, higher consciousness. I don't care. People call it Akashic records. People call it the field. People call it higher source. I don't care what it's called. I'm able to tap into that and get guidance. So one of the things that I've been shown is that we're headed for a new renaissance. Now you can tell things are changing. Everybody knows something's up. The old stuff's falling apart. New stuff is going to emerge. So they showed me, I call it they, I don't know what else to call it. They showed me that we've been here before, but this one's different. We've been here before where we had the fall of the Roman Empire. Then we had the Dark Ages where we had a global pandemic, the Black Death, right? The Black Plague. And then what emerged out of that, because everyone thought the world was over at that point, right? Everyone was dying. There was not what emerged out of that was the Renaissance. Brand new science, quantum, Newtonian physics emerged from that. The world wasn't flat anymore. The planet wasn't the center of the universe anymore. The printing press came out. There was new science, new philosophy, new literature. The printing press, so now people could the masses could read stuff now, right? It wasn't all new health things came out, new art came out. It was a major shift in consciousness with the Renaissance. Well, what they showed me was we're entering into another new renaissance. The first one that we know of anyway, was what emerged was Newtonian physics, right? It's all machined, right? Biological machine, whatever. They said the next one is going to be based on quantum physics, which is energy and consciousness. And the things that are going to emerge, it's going to affect everything. What I was shown is we weren't created to be slaves. We're slaves to money now. Everybody thinks they have to work to, survive with money. That's going to shift. You're already seeing that just even with digital currency. The health field is going to change dramatically, and that's going to be with the help of AI. Consciousness is going to shift so much. It's just going to skyrocket. I'm going to jump just a little bit, but in alignment with that. So basically it's consciousness and energy. I started asking, why does it feel like two pictures they showed me? I go, why does it feel like everything's so divisive? I mean, it's them against us. It's red and blue. It's them and blah. It's like, why is it so freaking divisive right now? And they showed me a cell, okay, like a single cell. So when it's ready to grow, it divides, and it divides again, and it divides again, because it's growing into something bigger. It's growing into a larger entity. They don't divide and then go off in their own direction. They evolve into something bigger. So that's what's happening, number one. Number two, I went, why does it feel like everything's going backwards? I mean, we're losing rights. It's like, what is happening, right? And they showed me a slingshot, Jimmy. They showed me getting pulled back and back and back and back. And when it lets loose, it is going to fly forward so fast. It's going to be mind-blowing, right? Just because it's like, wow. So those are two of the main images they showed me when I started asking questions. And that wasn't anything I could have come up with on my own. I wasn't even thinking like that. So it's already starting to emerge. That's why the conversation's so much about quantum physics now, even though I know, what's his name? Oh no, I'm going to space his name. Hoffman. Donald Hoffman. He's saying that where we're going is beyond quantum physics. That quantum physics is even basic compared to where we're going to go. So it's like, all right, I'm ready. But everything's going to change. And they said the government's going to change. That's all going to be different. And they showed me, well, look, we had kings before. We had freaking kings. How democracy emerged out of that. It's like, oh, now the people can decide instead of the kings. Where'd that come from? He said, we don't know what we don't know yet, because what's coming is a whole new way of how things are going to happen here. Now remember, there's two things here too, but how things are going to happen here. And they wouldn't show me what that's going to look like other than there was freedom. We weren't having to work. We weren't designed to have to work for money. That's slavery. We got rid of slavery like over 150 years ago, and yet we're still being slaves. We're not supposed to do that. Somehow the system's going to change where people get to do what they love to do. If they want to grow food, they can grow food. If they want to be an artist or a musician or a writer or a performer, they can do all that. because they love doing that. It's what they're here to do. It's what they feel drawn to. And it won't be about, do you know how many people are in jobs right now that they hate? And yet they're trying to survive. It's like, that's not life. That's not flourishing. That's not thriving. So that's all going to shift. So even though they didn't show me exactly what the new system was going to be, my intuition, and this is going to sound really far-fetched, but so I'm sure democracy sounded far-fetched to kings, right? Is we're going to be so self-realized, so self-governed, that we'll know we don't, it's not going to be about money. So nobody has to rob or kill or thieve or whatever. We're going to have what we want. We're going to use consciousness probably to manifest what we want, or somehow the system's going to feed everyone, house everyone. It's like something's going to change radically so we can be self-government. So our consciousness is so much more advanced. Basically, and I'm not religious, so I don't mean it to sound that way, but basically we're going to have heaven on earth. We're going to have like flourishing. We're going to have the garden again. You know, if you want to use the symbolism of religion, we're going to have the garden again, where it wasn't about struggle and pain and suffering, unless people want to do that movie. Now, remember, that's what I was shown about where we're headed. Now, I'm going to throw you for a loop just for a second, Jimmy. Okay. And if I talk too much, you just tell me, because I can also shut up.
I'm gonna jump in. Finish your thought.
Okay.
Because I do want to back up and comment. I've got some other questions here, but finish your thought.
Okay, good, because this might answer your question. Now, remember we said parallel universes? What people don't understand are there an infinite number of parallel universes. Infinite. And the physicists are saying that we go in and out of different ones all the time. We just don't know that. Every time we make a choice, like you're wearing black today instead of white or something, there's an actual you that's wearing black today and another you that went off wearing white today. And they're both having experiences. They're in parallel universes. That's why I can talk to people on the other side who've already crossed over. They're still alive. They're just in another frequency, another parallel universe. So we have an infinite number of parallel universes. So if that's the case, people are going to end up in the future that they believe in. If people believe that this world, because David Deutsch and all the physicists are saying there's even the quantum physicists that are focused on parallel universes. There's actually a universe where World War II, we didn't win, and we're all speaking German now. There's actually one where the Cuban Missile Crisis didn't end well and we blew up the world, whatever. All of those exist, okay, simultaneously. They're like changing. I like to explain to people, it's like radio station, radio waves, or your TV or whatever. You don't like the music that you're hearing, you change the channel. It's just a different frequency. But that's the way parallel universes are. That's how I experience them. You just change your thought, your choices, your beliefs, your emotions. It changes you into another universe. But since there's no membrane or wall or whatever, we don't know we're going into another one because we think there's only one reality, just like only one universe, just like we thought there was only one continent or one planet or one solar system, one, galaxy, right? Now they know that there's infinite number of parallel universes. So the future that you're going to experience is the one that you believe in. It's the one you feed energy into. So the people that believe that the world is going to be chaos and there's going to be rioting and death and destruction and corruption, they're going to end up in that one. That's not the one I'm in. That's not the one that I'm experiencing, and it's not my future. And so there are people that are going to align with that one. There are people that are in line with different ones because it's an infinite choice. And that's what's so weird. That's what I want people to know. We're not little victims. We got to get over this victim consciousness. And Jane Roberts Seth said the same thing. We create our own reality. And now physics with the double slit experiment, same thing. Our thoughts are affecting our reality. We're actually creating our reality. So I know that the reality I want to choose is the positive one that I just explained. And other people are going to go, that's not real. You're hiding your head in the sand. And I go, the people that are hiding their heads in the sand are the ones that aren't looking at what physics is saying now.
The information that you were shown, was it our future or was it their past and what they experienced through evolution, and it's what we could expect in our own future? I mean, is it precog or is it just from their own experience?
Okay, so now I'm going to explain something else that I've learned, not only from my own experience, but from people who have had near-death experiences. All those lives are happening simultaneously. There's no time over there. There's no time. All our other lives, all incarnations, they're all happening simultaneously. We tend to think linearly because that's how we experience 3D reality. We think linear. When you're not in linear reality, there's no time. So here's the trippy part. That future I just described, it already exists somewhere. I just haven't aligned with it yet. I just haven't believed in it enough to know that I can have that right now. I'm getting there. But it's
so the answer to the question then is it's our future that they know about.
It's our
right?
future. It exists. It already exists.
They know that we don't, is what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Okay. Wow,
Yeah.
that's interesting. That's real interesting. Now, okay. So
But you can tune into it, Jimmy. That's why when you have deja vu.
Oh, I tune into it all the time. Oh, you don't have to explain. You don't have to talk me into it. Oh, I'm drinking that woo juice right now.
Yeah.
I'm all there. But here's the thing. There are many people that are listening to the show now live, but that are going to see this in the future, right? And so there's a couple of points that kind of need to be addressed here.
Okay.
And that is the explanation coming from the sciences today, it's like all of the sciences, are suggesting that there is a multiverse, there are parallel worlds, there is probably more than 11 dimensions. They keep repeating to us, we know about 4 dimensions, but the numbers are supporting at least 11 dimensions. And some of these dimensions are so thin, right? So we have that issue. Then the next issue that we have is qubits and quantum computers. For a qubit to behave like it does, it has to entangle with another particle in another dimension, in a parallel world. They don't know how it happens. They just know that it does. Now, this is all science fiction. It's supposed to be. And that's where we are today. It's exactly where we are. And the only answer that ties all of that together is consciousness. It's the only answer. But that's what physicists fight the most, isn't it?
Yep, that's it. And that's it. It's okay. I know this. Then in the beginning of the 1900s, when quantum physics first started coming into the consciousness with, Max Planck and Heisenberg and Schrodinger, all those guys, they all said consciousness is fundamental. It's at the base of anything, that nothing can be considered real except for consciousness. And then what happened is World War II, the war showed up, and they all got moved off of doing quantum physics to go over to the war event, right? The war support, right? So all of that got lost. Well, it's reemerging now. Now physicists are starting to look at consciousness again because it got buried when the war happened. It all went sideways. It's not sideways anymore. Now it's starting to show back up. And more physicists are being open to it, except for the ones that go, no, don't change everything that I already studied my whole life. You can't take that away from me because then my whole life will be, for naught. So it is coming more and more into the consciousness, and you're hearing more about it.
Why? Okay, so for you, I know the answer. I just want your explanation. I live in a nonlinear time bubble myself. Is consciousness of the physical or non-physical, or can it be both?
My understanding is consciousness gives rise to the physical. And if you look at really what physics is saying, the whole thing, if you look at an atom and then you go deeper into it, it's subatomic particles. But if you go deeper into it, that it's they can't find anything solid to matter. They cannot find anything solid. Now they're saying, well, it's strings, no, it's vibrating, whatever it is, but there's nothing solid to it. So it's kind of a non sequitur to go, well, is consciousness physical? It's like, no, actually nothing is. It's all an illusion. It's like saying, well, when I had a dream the other night, was that dream, what I was experiencing, was that physical? No, it was in your consciousness. It's all consciousness.
And this is where I will argue with the physicists all day long, because they're wrong. All right, they are just simply wrong. And if you back up, you brought it up, right? Heisenberg and Schrodinger and Niels Bohr, all those cats back then, they all, in a very spirited way, right, for progression, they fought. Mm-hmm. Lots of egos, mm-hmm. big. Einstein too. He's part of it. But what they all admitted to is that the reason why we can have these arguments is consciousness. Mm-hmm. They recognize that. Today, that conversation doesn't happen. And that's the disturbing part about this, because in the world of quantum, a molecule is a molecule is a molecule is a molecule, right? But what's different from Pam's molecules than mine? It's the same stuff. It's the same stuff that makes up this coffee cup, right? It's the same stuff.
Yeah,
it's the same stuff. That's why physicists, because of Schrodinger and him messing with everything, Heisenberg too, about observation changing the state of something, mm-hmm. that is as woo-woo as it gets.
Yeah. Well, and the Newtonian physics are claiming that consciousness is created in the brain. To me, and I've heard this analogy used a lot, that's like saying your TV creates the programs you're watching. No, it doesn't. The signals are out here. They're created out here, and your TV is the focusing mechanism. It's the same with our brain. You can see it lighting up just like you can a TV, right? Lighting, the circuits lighting up. But
that's right.
That's why I can do remote viewing, and I can see outside of time, past, present, and future, and see somebody's past or see where they're headed, the future. I've been doing this for 40 years, and I saw 6 to 8 clients a day for almost 40 years. So obviously I could do it, right? It's not like I'm tricking people or doing research on 6 to 8 people a day. So non-local mind means the consciousness is out here. It's everywhere. It's not focused in our brains, in our bodies. And some of the physicists are finally getting that, but that's why I could do remote viewing and find a missing plane, and I knew who was still alive in the plane, or missing bodies. It's like I can do all that because I'm not. How could I do that if my brain was responsible for everything? I knew that I could go and connect with those people and find out where they were and what the circumstances were and what to do, because mind is non-local, and that's quantum physics.
The ability, remote viewings are really good. Channeling, remote viewing, I think very similar processes involved, because I think it's entanglement, and it's faster. It's all of that is at the speed of now. And I say that on every show. I sound, for those that listen to the show every single day and have for years, hear me repeat this over and over again. The speed of now is much different than, the speed of thought. The speed of now is much different than faster than light. Yeah. That's a different concept. That's a different thing. But when you're talking about at the speed of now and what that involves, that's exactly what ET is going to tell us, right? When they get here, just giving us that is going to freak out a lot of people, that this is how it has to be getting done. There isn't another answer for it.
I have a broad definition of ETs, meaning extraterrestrials, meaning not of this planet, but beings that are on the other side, that are basically, you can call them soul spirits, non-physical beings Those are also ETs. They don't all have to show up in a spaceship, right? That we're thinking physical again, right? And I mean, I know that ETs have been here for centuries, right? And I believe that beings exist in other dimensions. Just because most people don't understand it. That's why so many people now are being able to sense the other side. People have crossed over, spirit guides, whatever you want to call all these people, they're just in another dimension. So those are ETs, they're extraterrestrial, but they're not showing up in a spaceship. They're giving us information telepathically or in our consciousness. So we're getting guidance all over the place. And I believe that the ETs with spaceships telling me that there's beings that live in other solar systems, other planets, other galaxies are real. And I go, that's like telling me people live in France. Of course they are. Of course they're real. You know, they're already here. They're already talking to people. They're already guiding people. So none of that's a surprise to me. It's all, but I'm more interested in consciousness in general, because they obviously have consciousness too. Okay, I don't care what movie they've been playing on another planet or another dimension. It's still consciousness. It's still souls. It's still who we are as beings.
So when channeling happens, or it's the same thing with remote viewing, and that kind of communication happens, physicists will step in and say, entanglement, you're misunderstanding. Entanglement is one particle affecting another. There's not enough data there to allow for telepathy, or to allow for two-way communication, or to allow for a download, or to allow for remote viewing, or to allow. And they're in the denial phase of this. I'm not right. But so if we take this entanglement concept for remote viewing or telepathy or for channeling or two-way communication, well, I guess that falls in the category of telepathy, that you're entangling brains. You're not entangling one particle, you're entangling all of it at the same time, right? It has to be how it's done.
Yeah, it's not even going anywhere. It's connecting. It's allowing. It's understanding. It's aligning with. It's
right.
That it's all available right now to connect with. And a lot of things were true long before science ever proved it. So I typically don't wait for science, okay? Because they get all wrapped up in proving it. It's like, okay, I'm proving it to myself because I'm already doing it. I don't care what they do in their labs yet. I already know it's real because I'm experiencing it. I'm doing it. And I've had proof, personal proof over and over and over again for almost 40 years. I'm okay with it. Do I try to change other people's beliefs? No, they get to believe what they want to believe. And skeptics, I understand that if they haven't had the experience themselves, I understand why someone would be skeptical. But I also, Jimmy, believe that this is going to get more metaphysical, spiritual, whatever you want to call it. I believe that we as souls, we're already in that expansive state of oneness of all that is. We're already there. We chose to come here to have this polar dichotomy, separation type of thing, to have the experience and to add to all the consciousness. So we're here having experiences, and we're all having different experiences. So I'm not going to judge what somebody else is doing on the planet because they came here for a different reason than I did. It's like we're all adding to the consciousness. We're all here. I believe we're here for the same reason that we go to the movies. We want to have the experience. We want to have emotions. We want to eat ice cream. We want to walk on the beach. We want to get scared, or we want to be in love, or we want to be happy, or we want to be sad. We wanted to experience all that. So that's what we're doing here. And my feeling is we're getting freaking bored with the nightmare that we've created. We forgot who we were. We forgot who we are. And we've turned it into a freaking nightmare. And it's a struggling. And I don't like going to horror movies. I don't like going to war movies. I don't like going to dramas even. I don't like any of that stuff. I like either documentaries or quantum physics stuff or fun laughters comedies or romantic comedies, whatever. I like the stuff that's a feel good. So that's what movie I want. But we've turned it into such a nightmare by thinking that we're victims. What I feel like we're doing now, Jimmy, and your evidence of this is we're starting to wake up. We're bored with the old movie. We're bored with the suffering. We're tired of it. We've done it so many times now. It's like, all right, let's see if we can play this movie differently now. Let's see if we can play it that we're creators instead of victims. So I'm learning.
The problem with skeptics is not what skeptics think is wrong with skeptics. Okay. And it first off, skeptics they're dealing with trauma in their childhood. I said it. There's that part. But the second part is that they think we hate them like they hate everything, not just us. That's the difference. And so because they want to stay in the safe zone, and they don't want to ponder or dream or think about something, and that could be anything, they don't want to do that. So to stay in their safe zone, to protect themselves, they just say no. Right. And that's it. They don't have an argument. They don't have any fact. They don't have anything to back it up. That's because they don't want to have their minds blown. They don't want to have their world shattered in this perfect thing because they're dealing with, whatever, they've got daddy issues or whatever it is. That's the third part. The world of skeptics is small. Okay? It's tiny. Go to a skeptics club. We get together here in Los Angeles once a month. All right, let's go. Right? We are the biggest skeptics organization in the world. Okay, I'll come hang out with you guys once a month. Okay, you walk in, it's like 6 dudes. It's like, where is everybody?
Yeah,
it's a small little. Michael Shermer's world is tiny. I publish. I'm not bagging on Michael because I think he's a really cool dude. I like the guy, but Skeptics Magazine or whatever, circulation of 5,000. It's not 50 million or 100 million. It's not like that. So the skeptics are fighting for recognition. And so that's the other part about it. What they don't know is cover your ears. What they don't know is we don't give a shit.
That's what I was going to say. Jimmy.
Yeah, we don't care. The world, there's 8.5 billion people on this planet, right? That have open minds. And there's like 20,000 skeptics. That's it.
So that's
it.
Maybe
it's tiny.
Maybe that's what they're here to do. Maybe that's what they wanted to experience in this lifetime. They wanted to live in the box and have it all designed out. Some people need rules here. Some people need, to follow rules. I don't. I tend to be one of those people that like to. I mean, I'm kind. I don't like run red lights or anything, but I don't deal with skeptics. I'm okay if they don't want to believe in it. It's their choice, their movie, their
do your thing. Yeah.
Focus with
and see, but they think it's the opposite. That's what drives them.
Yeah, that's
it's kind of like Canada. Okay, all right. I'm back. I tell too many Canada jokes on the show each month. We love Canada just like we love skeptics.
Yeah,
so,
Canada's pretty. I like it up there. It's very clean.
It's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome. Canada is its own little special place, man. Canada's the most beautiful. I swear, I flew on a private plane. In a private plane. And I flew I think I went from Saskatoon to Regina. And I might have gone Regina back. Oh, no, I went somewhere else after that. Anyway, but that flight and I'm looking out the window, right? It's a private plane. It's like 3 people on the plane, me, the pilot, and my friend. That's it. And we're cruising. I'm just looking out the window at the most beautiful stuff I have ever seen.
Yeah.
Canada's remarkable, man.
Yeah.
Remarkable. Just remarkable. Love Canada. This Canada, the skeptics of world politics. But the other part, we're going to take a break here in a second. The wonderment when somebody out there doesn't think about what else is out there. Aren't we confining ourselves? Because you mentioned Newton earlier, Newtonian physics. The reason why he got to where he was with gravity and everything else is because he was an alchemist, right? He was a theologian. He was a mathematician. He understood English and was educated, but also physics and science. He was like an everyman. You know what I mean? And that's what allowed him to expand the mind, not close it off, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why we made the progress that we did.
Mm-hmm. And that's why you do your show, is to give people a choice if they want to think outside the box or if they want to stay in the box. And there's no judgment. We're all here doing different things, but that's why you do your show, is to show people things that are outside the box. And then they have a choice to believe or not believe. It's okay.
Isn't that the way it should be?
That's
Yes, that's the way it should be. You remember, I forget how it's written, on the back of a dollar bill or on a coin or something. I haven't held money in so many years, but e pluribus unum. Of many, we are one.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody's different, but together, look what we've got.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what we need to get back to.
Yeah.
Our founding fathers wanted us to be different, to accept everybody. It didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter what your background was, what you believed in. Come here and we're going to have a better place. And let's all just get together. And now you're right. You're right. It's like cells dividing. Yeah, it's pretty trippy to see this go. Yeah, maybe you got to go to the edge of the cliff before you progress.
Yeah, that's how it made me feel better when I saw it, because I don't like the fighting and the divisiveness and the blaming. That's why I don't like putting out anything that's got fear, negativity, judgment, criticism. That's just yucky energy. So when they showed me that the cell, when it's ready to grow into a larger entity, it starts dividing. Oh, now I can live with that. That's what we're doing. We're growing into something larger, even though I don't know if that individual cell knows the ultimate, what it's going to look like. Maybe it does. Or the other analogy that, like people like Bruce Lipton use, that the caterpillar is falling apart so the butterfly can emerge. Mm-hmm. And you know that the caterpillar, when it goes into the cocoon, do you know that it uses what's called imaginal cells to turn into the butterfly? Did you know that's what they're called, is imaginal cells?
Yeah, I got that from the TV show Kung Fu with David Carradine. Oh, I'm kidding. But yeah, Lipton is right, though. He's absolutely right. And the ideas, especially today, Pam, that to be different is wrong. That's no. I do. If you come to my house for a dinner party, I intentionally bring people that are different from each other and different from me. But I'm not going to sit and have a conversation with somebody all night long that we all agree on the same things.
Everybody's different than you.
That's boring. I want people that listen to this show to get a little angry sometimes.
Oh.
And to not agree with me, and to be forced into thinking about something that makes them uncomfortable. Then I win. Then I've done my job. Because isn't that what you want? Don't you want to be challenged?
No, I don't like being challenged. I like to share, and people get to do what they want with that information. I've been challenged enough in this lifetime. I'm over it. I mean, when I first started doing this, seriously, 40 years ago, this was not being psychic, being able to see auras. That was not a thing. So I had, when I was on radio shows, I had so many angry people calling up and going, I had everything from scientists to religious people attacking me. It's like, I'm done with that. It's
Yeah,
like,
no, that's not what I'm talking about. But I appreciate that. What I'm saying is learning something that you didn't know before.
that I like.
That's what I'm saying. That's being challenged.
Okay, I like that. And if you want to, if later in the show, if you want to hear some dramatic stories of what I've done to use parallel universes so people understand that they can use them and they can change their life dramatically, I believe that's how people do spontaneous healings, or just like they had cancer and then they don't all of a sudden. It's like it's a shift in universes. So I've got some stories if you want to hear those. If not, I'm happy to talk about anything.
Okay, we'll do that when we come back after the break. Our guest tonight, Pam Oslie. We are talking about the future us. We'll be right back. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to get your alerts and access to over 2,000 videos. Click that subscribe button right now. Go to jimmychurchradio.com and get the Fade to Black official podcast. 2,000 episodes, all of them commercial free for just $2 a month. This is Jimmy Church. Please visit and explore Egypt this October 3rd through the 14th, 2024 with Billy, Elizabeth, myself, and very special guest and the #1 podcaster in the world, Sean Kelly. It's simple to do. Just go to forbiddenknowledge.com and click on upcoming tours or click on the link below. We'll see you there. Watch Into the Vortex on Gaia TV. It's Fade to Black for the screen. Simple to do. Go to Gaia.com, search Jimmy Church, or click on the link below. Follow Fade to Black on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Get all of the show updates every single day. It's now called X, but who cares? How you doing? Jimmy Church here. Special announcement. Get your Fade to Black T-shirts. That's right. Help support the show. Help support everything that we do over here. We've got 2 T-shirts. We've got 2 ways to get them. And right now, if you get a Game Changer membership for a limited time, you will get Fade to Black Blend coffee with your Game Changer membership. That's right. We have 2 T-shirts. We have the original, the classic Fade to Black T-shirt. You know you want one. Post a picture. Send it to us. We'll put it in our Fade to Black gallery. And we've got the new official Fade to Black T-shirt drawn by Michael Oming. 2 T-shirts, 2 ways to get them. Get yours today. Everything is in stock. Everything gets autographed. Everything includes shipping. And you're going to get a tracking number. And with a Game Changer membership, you get an email to me. You get unlimited commercial-free downloads of the show. Those are uploaded every single night after the show to the website. So don't delay. Get your Fade to Black T-shirt today. Go Backley Tappy. Go to jimmychurchradio.com and become a Fadernaut. Get a membership. That's right. Everything is commercial free. You have access to downloads, and you get to call yourself a Fadernaut. River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. Truly the best coffee on planet Earth. Just visit rivermoonwellness.com or their Amazon store. It's all simple to do. You can check out the Fade to Black blend, the Game Changer blend, or any of their Black Moon Wellness products. It's the only coffee I drink. It is the best, and it's Doc. Again, rivermoonwellness.com. All right. Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Pam Oslie. We're talking about the future us, our future selves. What are we in for? And what can we expect? And Pam, I wanted to ask you, is there a difference between a parallel universe and a parallel world? Or is it the same thing?
I think it's the same thing. I would define them the same. And parallel universes, they don't all have Earth in them, but because there's an infinite number of, if we're making it up with our consciousness, we can create anything. So I think those are basically not splitting hairs. I think they're the same thing, other than not every universe has a world or an Earth in it or all these people.
Now, when you're working with somebody, what can they expect? Because they have their own version of what this may be. What can they expect, and what do you tell them?
Well, when I did now, I've officially retired from doing readings because I was doing them for almost 40 years, 6 to 8 people a day. I'm on to my new adventures now. So when I did see people, everybody came to me for different reasons. If I did look at their future, some people want to know about their love life, their career, their life purpose, their health. It just depended, right? Where they should live. So anytime people came to see me, or we worked on Zoom or the phone or whatever, I always emphasized free will. First of all, because I absolutely am a huge proponent of free will. I don't like people telling me what to do. I'm not going to tell people what to do. If they wanted to see anything in the future, I would look to see what I'm going to call their probable reality. If people stayed on the current path they were on with their current beliefs, this is where they were headed. I equate it to, let's say you're in, you're in Los Angeles, okay? So let's say you're in a helicopter and you're flying over Los Angeles and one of your friends is in a car down below and you go, hey, don't stay on that same road. You're going to don't stay on Santa Monica Boulevard. You're going to hit a traffic jam. Go over, turn right and go over a couple blocks and then go forward. Okay. Because there's a traffic jam. So that's how I could see it. I could see the future they were headed for. I saw people headed for cancer. I saw them headed for divorces. I saw good things. I knew, I mean, I would get specific sometimes, Jimmy, like the person's name they were going to meet and marry, and things would just come to me. It wasn't, I mean, very specific sometimes, most of the time, very specific. Anyway, but I always let them know. Like one girl came to me, for example, and I said, you know what? You have so much anger towards your father right now that I'm looking at your future and you are headed smack dab into getting cancer. You got to, deal with the father issue. And if you do that, it won't ever happen. Well, she didn't believe me. She came back a few years later and went, I didn't do the thing about my father and I've got breast cancer. Can you please help me? So then we looked at how to change that around. Now, some people could say, oh, that was self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like, well, so for example, I gave a woman a reading and I said, well, I'm seeing your daughter moving to Arizona. And she goes, oh, no way. No, that's never going to happen. She's not moving to Arizona. It's never going to happen. Her daughter ended up moving to Arizona. So it's not like the woman, had self-fulfilling prophecy. So again, I can see where people are headed. I can even see other lives because they're all happening simultaneously, Jimmy. And if you've got expanded consciousness, there's no boundaries to where your consciousness can go. So, I had this one experience. I mean, I remember 40 years of doing readings. Oh my gosh, the stories I have. I remember going up to Portland once and we were giving readings. I was giving readings up there and doing workshops. And I went to one woman's home, gave her a reading, and I said, wow, she was actually killed in Salem. This is the first time I'd ever seen anybody connected with Salem. I go, you were killed as a witch. They bound your hands. They threw you in the water and you drowned. But they did the same thing to your daughter and your husband at the time. And your daughter that you had in that lifetime, her name was Sarah. And it's the same daughter that you have in this lifetime. It's the same soul. And your husband in that lifetime is your brother in this lifetime. But you watched all of them drown before they killed you. That was kind of your punishment. And she didn't say a word. She just sat there and her face got whiter and whiter and whiter. And then she goes, after it was done, she goes, okay, I have to show you something. She walked me into her library. She showed me this entire bookshelf. She goes, I have been obsessed with the Salem witch trials since I was a young child. Every book she had was on the Salem witch trials. And she goes, my daughter's name is Sarah. And I have been terrified from the day she was born that she was going to drown. She can't go near a bathtub or a puddle without me going into cold sweats that she's going to drown. And when she discovered now that it was because of that lifetime, she said she never had a fear of her daughter drowning after that. So it's like, all those lives are all connected. So I could see past lives. I can see future lives. I can see other lives. Some of them have not been on this planet, as weird as that sounds. So everybody's different. When they came to me, they had a different purpose. We looked at different things. But my biggest thing was, one, I'm going to do the best I can. And two, you have free will. Don't ever give away your power to create the life that you want.
So if we evolve, and I expect that we will, okay? I'm not coming at this with a skeptical mind. We are going to evolve, but we're going to have to understand the tools, because your brain could become a very crowded room.
You're still
right?
thinking and in your brain. Everything's not in your brain, Jimmy, and consciousness has no boundaries, so it's not very crowded. It can
See, I'm the opposite. I think the opposite.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of souls floating around in the universe.
Yeah.
Right? And if you can suddenly access all of that, man, that you need to develop a discipline. You've got to understand how to use those tools, because that's like going into a rock concert and listen to everybody talk at the same time before the show starts.
No, I agree with you. That's different than a crowded brain, though. I don't think everything's in our brain. So having access to all that consciousness, it can get a little overwhelming. There's a lot of data. There's a lot of information. And you know what, Jimmy? There are things that I started doing that I had no idea how it worked technologically. So I didn't understand how it worked. I just know it works. Okay, now I studied quantum physics. So now it's like, oh, that's why. It's because of entanglement or non-local mind. Okay, I get it. But the same thing, I don't understand how cell phones work, but I use them. I don't even understand how electricity works, but I use it. So I totally agree with you. I really believe we're evolving, if you're going to put it in linear time, and that things are already changing. I personally wish they'd change faster, but that's just me. And you have Violet in your aura. Violet's usually go 150. It's like, let's go. How come humanity can't see this? How come people can't see this? Because you Violets can see way ahead of other people. You guys are the visionaries. So
see, I try to keep it in check the best that I can too, as well. And that takes a lot of discipline. And here's the other thing. I have a friend. I have a friend that is an extremely gifted psychic. Okay. Like the real deal stuff. I've got lots of friends that are psychic, but I have one that is, and she's going to listen to this and call me, but anyway, or she knows I'm saying this now and she's now listening to the show. She's a freak. And she is so gifted, and I think it's almost a burden. And she deals with it on the right, but she is so gifted that she walks into a room and she knows everything about everybody at the same time.
Yeah.
The relatives, the thing, the stuff that's tied to them, the stuff that's following them around. Very, very, when you say specific, she's just reading from a book. She's going straight at it. And I, as cool as I think that is, I wouldn't want that gift.
No, you can turn that off though. Does she say it's a burden? Is that what she tells you?
No. She's lovely too. She's so awesome. But I ask her that question all the time. Can you turn that crap off? And you're sitting next to me right now. Don't tell me anything. I don't want to know. And I've literally had to say that to her.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Let's just you and I be us, because I know right now you want to tell me something. You do. You want to tell me, but no, please don't.
Yeah.
Don't. And I've asked her, do you have the ability to turn it off? I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, you do. We're not victims. People explain, like they ask me if I can see auras all the time, right? I say, well, I use the analogy. Let's say you're walking down the street or you're at a shopping mall. You know that people are wearing clothes, I'm assuming. You don't choose to focus on the colors they're wearing or what they're wearing or if they dressed up. You don't choose to focus on that. It's the same thing. I choose to just not focus on it.
You know James Redfield, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now,
No, I know who he is.
Okay, he's amazing, and we're friends. Okay, but his first two books like changed the ground that I walked on. Like I felt the shift, and so the suggestion of some of these things that he was talking about in those first two books that I've talked to him personally about and wanted to turn around and get some answers. But I started to see that in other people. And I would test it on myself. That was I would do that. Look at my hands. I would do all of that. And it's not only is it real, but you have to turn around. You don't have to convince me, right? But how do you explain it to other people so they can understand what you are saying? Like you said that I think you used, I'm yellow and violet or whatever. How do you explain that to other people so they can understand the process of what's going on?
Well, when it comes to auras or the psychic stuff with
no, auras. I'm talking about auras.
With auras, I explained that we all emit an energy. We're made of energy. We vibrate. We all emit an energy. That's what I explained at the beginning. We can all feel it. That's why you like some people right off the bat and other people, they don't have to say a word, but you don't like their energy. You probably have incompatible aura colors, right? Or they've got something going on in their aura that is not working for you. So we emit an energy. Now, I do know that a lot of people see the same colors that I do. There's also people that see different colors than I do. And I see different colored bands out from people. The one or two colors that I see closest to the body are the life colors. That shows me who you chose to be in this lifetime, the theme you've chosen, the careers that are going to be fulfilling for you, the relationship styles, how you are with money, potential health issues. It's all in those two bands. In my experience of the aura, the outer bands in the aura change all the time, depending on what's going on with the person at the time. So for example, if somebody gets really angry, red shows up in the outer bands, but once they're not angry anymore, that red goes away. That's different than a red life color that's there all the time. And so what I explain to people is that I believe that when we came here, we left breadcrumbs behind just in case we got here and forgot why we came. So we left clues in astrology, numerology, palmistry, iridology, and the aura, and probably a bunch of other things too. So we can look at it and go, oh yeah, that is me. That is what I wanted to do. That resonates. It validates how I've always felt my whole lifetime. So it's an energy field, and Carillion photography, they take pictures of it, the whole bit. So most people, I haven't encountered a whole lot of people, especially not in the last 10, 15 years, that have not accepted energy fields or auras. At the beginning.
Okay. All right. This is the question for me.
Okay.
All right. So you go to a coffee shop, you're by yourself, and you order your coffee, kind of scan around, and all the tables are full, and there's a table with an empty chair. You would like to sit, but somebody's got an aura. Now, do you use that in your personal life? Right? Maybe it's somebody that you want to talk to.
Yeah.
Or somebody you want to avoid. You're not going to sit down at that chair, no matter how bad you want to sit. You're going to go stand because that aura is something you don't agree. You know what I mean? Do you use it personally?
Yeah, and I've actually taught a lot of people about the different aura colors. That's why it's on my website. There's a free quiz. People can go find out what their aura colors are. I see 14 different colors. I've even taught other people and like therapists and coaches and healers. Yes, I do it all the time. And it's funny because you violets have the biggest auras ever, because violets have to reach the masses. You guys are here to make a big difference on the planet. So you guys are big energy fields, right? So when a violet walks in a room, usually people know it, right? So I love yellow violets. I don't have favorites, but those are my favorites because you guys are the most fascinating to me. But there's certain, like if somebody's got a red overlay and there's other things attached to it, I'm usually non-judgmental and very friendly to everyone. I'll talk to anybody and everybody, right? Just be friendly. I'm in a waiting room. It's shopping.
Except, okay, you're going to say except.
Yeah. There are certain people, especially people with a red overlay, that I can tell that are very damaged and not safe. And I can see it and I can feel it. Most people can. You can get an energy from someone where you go, ooh, that person doesn't feel safe to be around. I tend to not judge them because I know it comes from pain and something that they've experienced in their life that's created that red in there. But I tend to stay away because I don't want to have to start doing counseling on somebody, in a coffee shop. So, and there's certain people I can tell they're dangerous. It's just like, no, I'm not going to engage with that. I'm going to give that person distance.
Now, what are there? You probably dispensed of more love advice than anybody on the planet, and it doesn't really matter if it's male or female. We've all got the same wants and desires and the same questions and the same journey. But are there certain auras that are attracted to each other?
Yeah. Yeah. Now, that precludes people that have damaged growing up and then they're attracted to the same abusive type of male that their father was or something, that precludes. But there are definitely aura colors that are really compatible and there's chemistry. Like, again, I'm using you as an example, sweetie, because you're right here. Violets have a lot of chemistry. That's why so many of them become famous. Because I worked in the industry. I watched casting directors pick violets out a mile away because violets have so much charisma and so much energy that comes off of them. So people are very drawn to that, which is why so many of them become famous, right? So yeah, there's aura colors that are very drawn to each other, very compatible. Like George Clooney is a violet yellow, and so is Amal. They are really compatible. The Beatles were violet yellow, right? He finally met a soulmate. He finally met a match. He was dating, and I'm not putting him down. He was dating this young, blue, yellow little models and actresses and whatever. They weren't dynamic enough for him. They were blue yellows, and I'm a blue yellow. So we're sweet. We're nice people, but we're not as dynamic as that violet energy. So violets can get really drawn together. They can create amazing projects together. However, they need to have their own spotlight. They need to have their own projects. Otherwise, they start competing for the spotlight, which is why the Beatles broke up, right? Violets like to be independent and do their own vision. Spielberg, George Lucas, violet yellows. They have to do their own projects. They don't like working for other people either. They need to do their own projects. And then there are certain aura colors really are going to have a rough time getting along. I mean, yellows and greens are the opposite. The way I see them, yellows are big kids at heart. Okay. Sense of humor, playful, funny, Peter Pans. Violets want a partner that's like, wow, that they have chemistry with, that they're visually stimulated with, that'll do the adventures with them or at least support them in doing it. They need wow. Yellows actually have a fear of commitment. Okay. So yellows are like, wait, they want to have fun. They want to play. They want to laugh. They want to be with somebody that's light, that doesn't control them. And greens are the type A personalities, the business CEOs, bankers, real estate, money people. Yellows, if they had their way, wouldn't be working at all. They're fun loving. They're playful. They're big kids at heart. Now, violets have a big mission here. Violets have to do projects. They get bored if they don't have something going on. Where yellows can, I'm going to watch TV. I'm going to drink beer. I'm going to play. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to party, or just relax, or go to the beach, or do something easy. Greens don't like that. Greens are driven to make money. They want to respect their partners. They're workaholics usually, right? Very stressed, and they can be very judgmental, very critical. Greens are one of the colors that's hard for me to be around because greens can be very critical and judgmental and
abrasive.
Yeah, power, money, control. Right. When they're out of power, when they're in power, they create jobs for people. They make a lot of money, and they're very intelligent. When they're out of power, meaning the negative side, wow, they're really tough to be around.
Is there such a thing as a violet green or a green violet?
Yeah, that's hold on, green violet. That's Bill Gates is green and violet.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, that kind of makes sense. Well, okay. Since we're on this, what's Tom Cruise's colors?
He's actually, this is one of the only people that I have the hardest time figuring out what he is, because I know there's violet there, that charisma, the whatever. He's got green in there. So greens are perfectionists and go for it. But every so often I see orange in his outer bands, and oranges are the daredevils on the planet. Usually I see them being stunt people and race car drivers and extreme sports, right? So I see orange showing up around him sometimes. I've seen different colors around him. So I know the violet is there. I think he's a green and violet, but every so often I see yellow, I see orange in his outer bands. So I'd have to see him in person because you don't always get true color on screens.
No, you've got him dialed. That's pretty close. And here's the strange thing. The reason why I bring up Tom Cruise, he's kind of an enigma.
Yeah.
Because if you go and you look at his body of work, right, and you take like the best scene of every movie, and you run that down in a reel, and you look at that, and you're like, man, he's like the greatest that's ever been. Right? Mm-hmm. And then there's this other side where you're like, man, I don't like that guy. Mm-hmm. It's kind of weird. And then throw in the S word. I don't even like saying it on the air. And then you throw that in. He seems to me to be too smart to be conned. Right? Yeah. Right? Okay, I'm trying to be very careful here.
Yeah.
And so that's why, to me, he's kind of an enigma.
I agree with
you. Really weird. It's really, that's why I wanted to ask about him specifically. Yeah. Not to go down the entertainment road when it comes to auras, because we all have them. And we're all interested in them. And then the other part is learning how to see them and go and challenge yourself throughout your own life with this gift of being able to see somebody else's auras. How easy is it to learn?
I think it's easy. It didn't take me long, but I also had that psychic ability, so it kind of matched with it really easily. Let's say it this way: you yellows are more kinesthetic. Yellows feel things in their bodies, so that's why yellows are good massage people, or sports people, or creative people. Yellows, that they're more kinesthetic, so they tend to learn about the aura through the feeling that they get off of people, or they can feel the energy off of people. You violets are more visual. Violets come from the third eye. Violets can read people. I'm telling you, they're some of the most psychic and intuitive people on the planet. You guys you sense things, you know things, you can read people. So violets are the first ones, because they come from the third eye, to be able to see the aura. Okay. And it's not that hard. I tell one of the ways you can do it. So everybody's different. Greens need to write lists. Greens learn by analyzing it and writing and learning what all the different personalities are. They get it that way. Tans have a really hard time because they're so logical, so detailed, so practical. So step 1, step 2, step 3, they're the computer programmers and physicists and, science, it's logic. So they have a hard time with it. But what I tell people is, for me, it's easy to see the aura easier if it's in front of a white backdrop. And then if you just look at someone with soft eyes, so that either means stare at them over their head or on their nose or some of their part, just look with soft eyes. And most people, and this is how I started too, most people first start seeing the aura by like a white energy halo around the head, because this is where the aura, in my experience, this is where the aura is stronger. I think that's why they painted halos around saints, because this is where it's the strongest. So if you look at somebody with soft eyes, you'll probably start seeing the white. First, it just shows up as white until most people don't see the colors right away. I didn't either until over time I was like, oh, now I can start making out the colors. So I don't think people should get attached to having to see them, but the fact that I could do it psychically first means then I could do it on the phone. I could do it on my radio show. I could do it without seeing people, because I could tune into them and tell what the frequency was. But that's a good way to do it. Otherwise, you can, if you're more kinesthetic, you can stand away from somebody and start moving your hands in, get closer and closer until you can feel the energy. People go, well, I can feel heat. And I go, well, that's energy. Heat is energy coming off of people. So it still counts. So those are two of the ways.
Now, I like the word judgmental, because there's also, you've got the most overused, statement saying, opposites attract, right? And don't be judgmental with somebody's aura, because you can always learn, or, you know what I mean? Don't walk away. Just understand what you're observing.
No, I agree. I show people that even if there's a green that married a yellow, it's like, all right, just understand that they're a yellow. So then you can allow, when people understand each other's aura colors and the personality type that goes with that, we can be more allowing and understanding and accepting and bring the best out of them, instead of running around going, why can't you think more like me? Why can't you?
Yeah, it's called you can actually communicate.
Yeah.
Right? And you hear it from everybody, men, women, doesn't matter. Man, I don't like that guy because he, I don't like her because she, and I can't talk to them. I just can't. Wait a minute. You don't understand them.
Yeah.
There's a way to communicate with anybody if you understand their personality type. They probably have the same issues with you, right?
Yeah. Well, and so that's one of the reasons I feel like there's value in people understanding each other's aura colors, because it reveals their life purpose and why they're here and what kind of personality they are. So, for example, you're violet. I keep picking on you. Tans are the opposite. Tans are, this is how they process. Step 1, step 2, step 3, and they'll tell you every detail of what happened to them that day and the story of everything. And they go 1 to 10, 1 to 10. And violets go 150. And it's just like, come on, get to the punchline. I don't care about all these facts and details. Let's get to the punchline. But what I tell violets, you got to let a tan tell their story. You got to let them fill it all in, because if you try to push them, they get frustrated, because then the foundation's not there, then the whole thing falls apart. So what I tell violets is, if you can't appreciate that they're filling in the details, because we need tans. Tans have the patience to work on all those freaking details where the rest of us don't. You see how fast I'm talking? That's because you're a freaking violet. So violets go 150, right? So I got to talk really fast, because otherwise you guys get bored. So what I tell a violet to do is, when they're doing step 3, step 4, go think about other stuff, let your mind wander, and come back when they go 9, 10. You go, oh, I got it. Thanks. Great story. Thank you.
Well, but what advice do you give a tan? Right? Because the same communication issues are there. You need to keep a violet or blue or yellow. You got to keep their attention. And sometimes those details, I'm speaking to a tan when I say this, can get lost in the translation. So what's the advice that you give to a tan to communicate to a yellow, or especially like a yellow who doesn't give a crap, right?
Yeah. Yellows are like, look, did it make you laugh? Are you happy? Or do you need healing? Right. Yellows either creative people, healers, or physical people, right? So it's tough to tell a tan what to do, because they're really, and I don't judge them. We need tans. But what I tell a tan is, look, you understand you're a tan. You're married to a violet. They kind of don't care about the details. So you do, just accept that you care about the details, live your life that way. You don't need to tell them all the details, because they'll get frustrated. They don't need to hear it all. Just keep the details to yourself if you want, unless they ask you questions, then go ahead and fill it in. Tans are usually the last. They don't typically believe in this stuff. They want to know if there's scientific proof. Are you ripping people off? Are you a scam artist? It's all about, because they're very conservative with their money, so they won't spend money on something like this, that kind of stuff. So I'm hanging out with a yellow tan, and my brother is a yellow tan. Both brothers are yellow tans. My sister's a sensitive tan. I just let them do their stories, and I just go, let them do their thing, because it's important to them. So I'm honoring them. But sometimes it gets really tough to listen to all the details, especially.
I do two people that I work the closest with. I can't say who, but that are part of my organization. All right, are so tan.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a bottle of Hawaiian Tropic.
Yeah.
They're like that. Tan. And all I can do is, first off, I understand that, but I do everything that I can to keep from saying, get on with it.
Yeah. No,
what did you dude. But letting them, by allowing for them to communicate in the way that they communicate, I just sit and I just listen, and honestly, it's some of the best conversations that I can possibly have.
There you go.
And then they turn around, and with my bombastic, over the top, at least I don't BS about it. I am what I am, but they understand that too. Right. And it's kind of a weird magnetism.
Yeah.
I wish I could never be a tan, but I kind of want to be a tan. And I'm jealous of that. But they fully want to be violet.
Oh.
They can't. It's so it works if you understand each other.
Yeah, it does. And the tans will take care of the details. Like I said, the violets don't usually have the patience for you. Violets usually want to start projects, create projects, be the visionary of the project, but you don't want to have to follow through with the bookkeeping and the data and all the details and all the technology of it. You want to be the creative visionary force and create the projects. So we need the tans who you could have challenges with, since you like to be challenged, are greens. Greens they go 1, 2, I got it 10. Let's go. Come on. But they usually think they're smarter than everyone else. And they think that violets are unrealistic dreamers and visionaries. It's like, what do you mean 150? How are you going to do that? They always ask how. How are you going to do that? That's not realistic. And they will challenge you. They will argue with you. So if you know your stuff, you can have a real good debate with them, except for when greens are out of power, meaning the negative side. You'll never win an argument with a green. They always think they're right.
Yeah. They'll never cave. Never cave.
No. They'll just think that you're an idiot, or you're out there, you're woo-woo, you're crazy, because violets are usually ahead of their time. Violets are usually ahead of the masses. And again, you violets can get frustrated with humanity when you see what you see and you don't understand why other people can't see it. And I go, well, tans don't see that stuff. They see 1 to 10, 1 to 10, 1 to 10.
Do you ever change? Okay. So can you change colors?
So first of all, I would never tell anyone they can't do something. I would never do that. In my experience of doing this for about 40 years now, I've only seen maybe 2 or 3 people change their life colors.
Really?
What is the theme that you came here to be? Just like not changing your astrology, right? Whatever sun sign you are, that's your sun sign. You chose that to reflect back to you. I don't see astrology as running you. I see it reflecting back to you what you've chosen. Same with your oracles. It's reflecting who you've chosen to be in this lifetime. Now, if you want to change, awesome, do it. Usually what I see people doing is coming more into who they are, right? A lot of people, they go, well, I used to be a tan. I go, probably because you got raised to think you're supposed to be a tan. So you had tan on you. And that's, if you don't live your, sorry to quote Cindy Lauper here, but if you don't live your true colors, people always feel like something's wrong. They're never fulfilled. They're not happy. They always feel like something's missing. When somebody's living their true colors and their purpose for being here, wow, they're happy, they're fulfilled, they feel in alignment, things flow for them. Although you violets like challenges, okay? You always want to expand and grow, and violets are the communicators. So that's why I apologize if I'm doing so much talking this time, because usually violets are the ones that like to do the talking, okay? So anyway, so can you change your aura colors? Of course you can. Why would you? You came here. When you said I'd like to be a tan, I go, no, you chose to be a violet yellow. You had a reason.
And I've thought about this a lot, Pam. In the 80s, I was full yellow.
Oh yeah.
I was sun yellow. I was full yellow in the 80s. Yeah. Trust me on this one. And I wore that color proudly. I wore it out. So, but that the yellow side of me, which is still there, it is, it has to be, but it's 10%, where it used to be 99%.
Yeah.
So but I didn't do it intentionally. I would say that I got my yayas out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Kind of grew up a little bit.
Because your violet went, hey, the goodness about being a violet is you guys have bigger adventures and you get to meet amazing people, and the synchronicity that happens to violets when they're in power. People go, you got to do what? You met who? You went where? What? Because violets, when they're on, it's like magic and synchronicity, and they're manifestors like crazy. Mm-hmm. Violets out of power, when they're on the negative side of violets, they can either get scattered and overwhelmed because there's like 20 projects they want to do and they don't know which way to go next. There always seems to be this restlessness with a violet, like there's more to do. I got more projects to do, because violets have a fear of getting bored. Okay. Where yellows are like, chill, come on. Violets are like, oh, there's so much more to do. There's projects you guys have to do. And violets came here to help save the planet, to shift the consciousness, to educate the masses. They want to educate, inspire, and empower. So they got to do big projects. So the downside of violets is they can either get scattered and overwhelmed by too many things they want to do, and they don't always know how to get there. Or the downside of violets, sorry, I'm going to be blunt here, but violets are truth tellers. Violets can also get arrogant, impatient, know-it-all, holier than thou, because you guys they're like older souls. They know things and they get frustrated with people, so they can get impatient, judgmental, critical, or big egos. Violets out of power have big egos. When they're in power, they have compassion for humanity. They read people. They get it. They go, look, we're all in this together. We can do this. They want to inspire and help people that way. Okay. But you understand the in power.
I do. That's an amazing point. So remaining in the violet or any color, right? Or any aura, but being on one side of it or the other, same personality traits, but understanding the difference between the two, because there are some it sounds like violet's the way to go. Now, I've seen a lot of violets burn themselves out and absolutely screw up everything that they tried to do right. And then other violets where it seems like nothing can go wrong.
Yeah.
It's always burning on all cylinders and everything clicks. But same personality types, the same people. I mean, you got Elvis on one side, right? And then you've got another version of him on the other side that happened to not burn out and try to be and let ego, all of that. Yeah. It's amazing that same colors.
We can get violets. The other issue with violets is if they're not being able to live their mission here, their purpose, the things they want to accomplish, because they think it's unrealistic and they don't have support or they don't support themselves, they can get really depressed. So there are some violets here that are just kind of leaving the planet because they feel like they're not doing what they came here to do. So that's violets can be the number one color that gets depressed.
Now, I meant to do this earlier. I meant to ask you this earlier, and now we're going to run out of time. So let's get through this. There are many shades of colors, and you look at blue, and you can go from turquoise to sky blue to navy blue. How many, yellow, you can phase through green and eventually come up to something, you know what I mean? You've got all these different shades of this, which also includes violet. And I was just thinking, okay, hang on, maybe, hold on. Check this out. All right. This is the best example. This guitar is violet. Okay? It's purple. Now you're looking at it on the screen. What color is it?
On the screen, it looks blue.
It looks blue.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? This is bright purple. Yeah. And it's dark purple here going to light violet in the middle. Yeah. But it's blue.
Yeah.
And now, do people see that same thing, how they perceive through the frequencies what an aura is? If they're seeing violet, or if they're seeing blue, or if they're seeing something in the middle between yellow and green, some kind of orange, right? Yeah, but you don't know.
We could get really profound and esoteric and go, is the blue you see the same blue that I see? Or do we just call
That's
it
what I'm
blue?
saying. That's exactly what I'm asking. Yes.
Not in somebody else's mind. But I do know that seeing things on television or movie screens, or especially on Zoom or, any of these online things, it's not always true color that comes through. Like before, they used a lot of red and green on TV. So it's really hard to tell what somebody's real colors were. With you, there's no, your aura is so huge. It was easy to see that. By the way, before I forget too, yellows are the most addictive personalities of all 14 aura colors. Yellows are the most addictive. So they have to watch out for drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, caffeine, chocolate or sweets, overeating, gaming, sex. They're very addictive personalities. But yellows only do those things if they're not happy, if they're hiding from something. Because yellows in power get addicted. They have to exercise. They love nature. They love dogs. That's the healthy yellow. The other yellows are like, something's still not right in my life, so I'm going to do those things. And I go,
like I said, me in the 80s.
Yeah.
And isn't it funny, because you come from your music and rock and roll background, that the personality traits in the music industry are so out front. They're so glaring, right? They're so obvious. And then people are those creative types, because they are on both ends of the spectrum, right? It's always the extremes.
Mhm.
There's very few John Denvers out there, right? it's always like these two extremes, and then they're hiding what they know is real. They're always hiding behind it. It's just bizarre, and you can always use a musician as a metaphor for any of these color descriptions because people get it.
Yeah, John Denver was so yellow. He was almost all yellow with a little bit of tan, but he was almost pure yellow. Kenny Loggins is yellow violet with some added green. Messina's yellow violet with Messina's green and violet. I forgot that.
Is he really? Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. And
Yeah.
you know what? That's why the two of them were so great.
Yeah, and
Together. Yeah.
remember I said violets have to have their own spotlight. Sunny and Cher were violet yellows. They have to have their own spotlight, or they have to be on the same page. If they create together and everybody's got their own lane that they stay in, they can create together. But look at George Lucas and Spielberg. They could create amazing things together, but they still have to do their own projects.
Yeah, it makes sense. And for those out there that understand that and can appreciate and respect the other for being so strong, then some real magic happens and some real sparks. But when it goes wrong, it just goes bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes bad, like no repair possible. Right.
Yeah.
That the fracture is just too extreme. But when it's right, we get some of the best stuff, don't we?
Yeah. So people can, I'm not doing a commercial, but if people want to know their aura colors, they can go to my website and
absolutely.
I got free videos on there they can watch. There's free written content on there. So I want people to know who they are so that they're happy and fulfilled. So they're not living under my parents told me I needed to be this, when that's not who they are.
Yeah, and both websites, we have them below in the description box, but over on our website and also throughout social media, which is auracolors.com and lovecolors.com. I love that. And so can people reach out to you through the websites too as well if they have questions?
Yeah. Yes. And know that, I get hundreds of email every day. So if I don't get back to you right away, I promise I will. But it's just, I'm officially retired. So, but I answer people. I will answer them.
It's like The Godfather, you know, they'll reel you back in. They'll just, try to, that's the thing though, that I really appreciate about this community is everybody's got an open mind. They want to learn. They want to understand more, and they don't want to close themselves off and live life with blinders on. And quite honestly, that's boring. And that's what I love about this community is we can do all of this and talk about it and think about it and wonder about it and go and try to figure stuff out.
Yeah. And developing all these abilities. I swear, you guys, my Quantum Leap course, I teach people how to do everything from psychic to intuitive to seeing auras to bending spoons. So mind over matter to talking to people on the other side to, seeing outside of time. I teach all of that stuff. And the reason being, I want to free people up. It makes life so much more interesting, so much more fun. And we can create the lives we want instead of feeling like we're trapped little biological machines that have no choice. It's like, no, it's so much more interesting, so much more exciting. And we have so much more freedom available to us.
Thank you so much, Pam. A perfect night on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you for doing your show. I love that you're discussing these topics. I love it.
It's this is the thing. It's what I want to do. Right? That tonight is it's called bliss. Right?
Yeah.
This is what Jimmy, what is it that you want to do? Okay, I can do anything, you can do anything. I want to have a conversation with Pam Oslie tonight. That's what I want to do.
And Violet's teach by example. So you're showing people they can do what they want to do too. They can live their dreams too. Violet's teach by example.
Exactly right. Pam, keep doing what you're doing. Thank you so much. And I look forward to our next conversation.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Perfect night on the show. Perfect night on the show. Don't you? I know it's okay. You can say it out loud. You kind of want to be me sometimes, don't you? I know. And it's okay. It's okay. It doesn't suck, man. That right there is why I do the show. That conversation, absolute divine perfection. Thank you, Pam. What a night. I look forward to our next conversation. And again, her websites are below, which are auracolors.com and lovecolors.com. What have I got going on tomorrow night? Does anybody know? That's right. Dr. Robert Zubrin is with us. We're going to be talking about Mars because everybody right now is talking about Mars, but Robert's been talking about Mars for decades. And we're going to do all of that tomorrow night right here on Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church, and Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee Newman, and Michelle Freed. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Dex. Webmaster Drew the Geek, music, Doug Aldrich, intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. And this broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2024 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Until tomorrow night with Dr. Robert Zubrin, I want you to be safe. Go Beckley Tepe.